Back inside the cauldron, no further warning, last call, the hex for me. Back inside the cauldron, last call, no further warning, the hex for me. It's a form of sorcery, dirty mates and break beat the mortuary. It's a form of sorcery, hex and dex, it gets dark like it ought to be. It's a form of sorcery, dirty mates and break beat the mortuary. It's a form of sorcery, hex and dex, it gets dark like it ought to be.
Hey guys, Melvin the Crimson Taurus here, and it has been a while. Terribly sorry about that, but you know, life happens, and when life happens, it decides to make you extremely busy, which I was, and Rose still is, to the point where she can't be here with me, not yet anyway, and she'll be back in the very near future. So until then, you got me, and not the Aussie. Alright, so luckily this is not an Unexplained Possibilities podcast. Instead, this is more of me giving you a preview of possible upcoming shows. It's not set in stone yet, that's why I say possible. So without further ado, let's jump into it. The first show we're probably going to do when Rose comes back is an ET topic show, and we're going to talk more about Rose's experiences, and she found out some new details about the ETs that visit her, as well as share a couple of stories from the internet, some good, some bad, some probably made up. You decide. And we're gonna do a little bit of a comparison, you know, and just talk about different ET races, what they possibly want, what if they're the ones who actually created not the planet exactly, but life on the planet. You know, what if we're the seeds of an advanced alien race? Or here's one. What if we're the seeds of an interdimensional race? Oh, because there are a few stories about some greys not necessarily being extraterrestrial, but interdimensional. And then there are stories about them actually being from the future. They're humans from the very distant future, and something went wrong with Earth's climate, and they came back into the past to hopefully fix it, so we don't end up looking like that or some mess. So, who knows? I don't know, but it's going to be an awesome topic to speak about. After that, I'm hoping to get on a friend of mine, and I don't want to say who just yet, because again, it's not set in stone, but they've had some pretty interesting encounters that are out of this world, and I'm hoping I could get him on so he could talk about it. Some positive, some negative, and I'd love for him to share a story. And it's a story that takes an interesting turn, one that I never saw coming. So, but I will say this, I've known the guy for about 5-6 years now, and he's telling the truth 150%. So this is, I believe him 150%. Of course, that's just my opinion. You know, my opinion is he's truthful and honest. He's not trying to put anything over. Your opinion may differ, which is fine. You know, I value differing opinions, and we need people with different views on things. You know, we need skeptics. I mean, we need people to stay grounded and say, dude, that's a rock. No, it is totally some type of hybrid alien egg. No, it's a rock. Come on. Get with it. You know, we need people like that because it keeps believers grounded. But we also need believers because they're the ones who will push us forward and break the barriers to find the truth. So, it's a balancing act. A very interesting balancing act, but my best friend, he thinks I'm a total nutbag, which is fine. He's pretty much a skeptic, which again is fine. But he says a few things I'll never admit to him, even though he's probably going to hear this. I'll never admit to him that you have a point. You could be right. Yes, that blows what I thought totally out of the water. I'll never say, yeah, you're probably right. Nope, can't do it. I just can't. No, sorry, bro. But in truth, he probably is right about a lot of stuff. Yet, on the opposite coin, he'll probably refuse to believe half the stuff I believe in, and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm going off somewhere else. But yeah, so I'm hoping I get my good friend on, talk about some of his experiences, and I definitely want to compare those with Rose's experience, because they are completely different. I mean, like, they're not only different in the sense of the things that happened to them, but they're different in the sense of who was doing what to them. One dealt with Zeta Greys and the other Orion Greys. So right there, we'll learn some of the difference between those two races of aliens, or extraterrestrials. I don't know what to call them. I hear people say, you can't call them aliens, it's disrespectful. Well, for crying out loud, I don't know what to call them, man. Other living beings there. So, after that topic, I think what we're going to do is go a little fantasy. I'm going to ask Vicky if she'd like to come back on and discuss the fairy topic, which, if you listen to that podcast, I said I'd like to have her back and talk about that. And the fairy topic's interesting because it's two ways to look at it. One way is, well, there's three ways really, but one way is to look at it like the Disney fairies, all lovey-dovey and flying around, sprinkling dust here and there, and all that jazz. Then another way to look at it is, what if fairies aren't necessarily magical creatures, but they're just highly evolved dimensional beings, and they have a glow and wings and all that because they're just on a totally different plane of existence compared to humans who are in a physical 3D plane of existence. They're evolved to the top of the top, and every now and then they'll slip into our dimensional plane, see what's up, and then leave. And the final way is, what if fairies are dimensional creatures that exude a type of magical ability, but not necessarily spiritual, a bit more physical. Then that's more in line with some of the UK beliefs. UK being, Ireland, Scotland, England, not necessarily just England, because for some reason when people say the UK, they only think of England, but it's like Wales, England, Scotland, Ireland. So it's a couple of places, not just one, people. But the other reason why I want to do the fairy topic is because there are a few channels out there that talk about fairies, but they talk about them in the sense of, okay, you know what? Let me put it this way. Do you guys remember this show, old cartoon show now, called The Winx Club? It used to come on Fox Kids when Fox showed afternoon cartoons and Saturday morning cartoons. Yeah, those were the days. So, Winx Club is about these fairies, and they go to fairy school, and they learn how to use their magic and all that jazz. Well, some people on YouTube with fairy channels, they kinda, in my opinion, act like that show, like they've gone to a fairy school, and like they create fairy dust and all that mess, and I'm just like, okay. Normally, I just ignore it and walk away, but then they start talking about creating magic spells. One being a mermaid spell, to where a little girl almost like lost her life thinking she was a mermaid and under the water for so long. She almost drowned. That's where it gets dangerous. So if I could debunk a couple of those things, even if you don't necessarily believe what we're going to say to try and debunk something that we believe isn't true, at least you'd know, like, okay, maybe I should take a second look at this. Like, let's really think, common sense here. I mean, dude, I highly doubt there is a spell that will somehow turn a person into a mermaid, and if they did, I don't think it would be like the Disney movies. You're not gonna look like Ariel. You'll probably look more like a walrus. I mean, I'm just saying, science tells us the ocean is cold, and if you live down there, you need some blubber, right? Right. So, that's all I'm saying. But, yeah, so I don't like those type of so-called spells where, a kid will look at it and they'll try and do it and possibly lose their lives. That's a scary thing, and if I can help debunk some of that, then I'm going to do it, and in the process we can learn about what I would say is actual fairy history, whether they be spirits, aliens, or whatnot. So hopefully Vicky pops back on for that. Would be a great talk, and I know it'll be filled with a lot of information. Another topic that I want to go into is DMT. Oh man. I'm saying oh man because I want to actually say what DMT is short for, but I can't pronounce this name. I've been trying for the last 20 minutes, like just trying to get it right. I can't. It's not even that difficult of a name, and I'm going to try and say it, but I know I'm going to butcher it, so forgive me. Dimethyl, oh God, dimethyl triptami. What? I not only did I butcher it, I even spelt it wrong in my notes here. How did I do that? Let's try this again. Dimethyl. It's not even an R there. You know what? Forget it. It's spelled DIMETHYLTRYPTAMINE. There you go. That. So, DMT, it's known as the dream drug. And first, I got to give major shout outs to Alex and Tig, who introduced me to this. And those two guys, really cool dudes, and very passionate about DMT, and some of their passion was shared with me. I gotta say, it's quite possibly one of the most interesting things I've ever come across. And I don't know why they call it a drug, because it's really more of a natural chemical, because your own brain produces it. And it's just well, what if when a person has a near-death experience, and a lot of them say they saw heaven, they were in heaven, what if that's actually a type of illusion thanks to DMT? Or what if it actually is heaven and you're seeing into another dimension because of DMT? And I say this because DMT is stored and produced in the pineal gland. The pineal gland is right in the center of your eyes, above your nose. Okay, so you're probably saying like, and so, well, in that exact location is your third eye. The Egyptians spoke a lot about this. The pineal gland and third eye, same thing, just different names. And the third eye was believed to be what gave people psychic prowess. So what if DMT is the chemical that actually gives us psychic ability to peer into the future, see different dimensions, peer into the past, gives us that deja vu. So that's going to be an awesome talk. I know for a fact Alex and Tig, they're fine coming on. They just want to get their research together, But that one, the only thing we need to get set in stone is a date, and it's going to be an awesome talk. Another one that I hope I can do would be just interesting stories from around the world about supernatural or paranormal supernatural beings. And for this, I want to get my buddy Benny on because he has some stories from Mexico. Interesting beliefs, and hopefully Rose will be with us for that. Again, it's a time zone thing, but I think we can manage. And with that, I want to talk about the black-eyed children who are possibly hybrids gone wrong, alien hybrids gone wrong, some type of government experiment, ghosts, phantoms, we don't know. Whatever it is, it's a phenomenon that's worldwide, and it's kind of scary. The story goes that if you're by yourself, you could be in a car, you could be at home or whatever, you'll get a knock on the door, and you open it, and it's going to be two kids. It's always in pairs, so it'll be two kids, and they'll say they're lost. Can they come in and use the phone to call someone and all that mess? They always ask permission. Now, the thing about that is that's a little bit of vampire mythology going there, because vampires, they can't just enter your home. You have to invite them in. So anyway, they're two kids, they're harmless, you're not really paying attention. You say, yeah, sure, are you okay? You in danger? And one will be the main talker, and the other one will just sit back and kind of be there. So they come in, and one uses the phone and stuff, and then you really look at them, and you notice they're a bit different, like their energy's off, and you finally see their eyes, and they're jet black, much like gray alien's eyes are big and black. And sometimes people report after that they get knocked out. They don't remember what happened, and then some tell them, leave right now, So it could be them scouting for people to take up on ships for certain ET groups, or it could be government experiments. We don't know, but there's going to be some stories that I'm going to talk about. Of course, we're going to talk about El Chupacabra, the goat sucker. I don't know if that thing's real or not. I think Rose, I believe she thinks it's fake. Benny, he believes it's real. That should be a good discussion. I'm in the middle. Bigfoot, and it's funny because I believe Benny thinks Bigfoot is fake, but Rose believes Bigfoot is real. So that should be also interesting. So I'd like to think that is a pretty jam-packed upcoming bunch of shows, and here's hoping everything goes right, so everything works as scheduled. So fingers crossed, and be on the lookout for a new podcast soon, guys. Until then.
Yo, one. Hey. Hip hypnosis, take your mind and then we hack process, override. And then it's black solstice, chant the lines until the dark force form is sorcery time. It's a form of sorcery, dirty bass and break beat the mortuary. It's a form of sorcery, hex and dex, it gets dark like it ought to be. It's a form of sorcery, dirty bass and break beat the mortuary.